going to do two things today. First of all, we're going to be doing page 96, but also we're going to review for a quiz that's going to be on Friday. Because I had already bumped the language test into the future, that is why we're having a quiz so soon, okay? I think we had done 2 lessons that should have been done after the test, before the test. So with 2 lessons from the future already under our belt, now it's already going to be time to take a quiz on what we've been learning on Friday. So I am going to talk about what's going to be on the quiz, all right? So first of all, let's review those helping words. By the way, one of them is not on my helping hands. I've had these helping hands from when we had a different curriculum, and since then, they also have added the little word am. So I don't have helping hands with that on it. So let's make sure we do say that one too, because the word am only goes with the word I, right?
Yes.
But it is still a helper. So am is, are, was, were, had, has, have. All right. So far we've been learning different verbs, and we've learned the present, the past, and then we learned the one that needed the helper. And so far we've learned 2 different hints for the one that needs a helper. Can you tell me one of those hints? The one that needs a helper? Has an N or an N sound. We're going to learn some that don't end in the N, but they do end in the N sound. And what's the other one? Okay, be more specific. It has to have a
Short U.
short U. Short U sound, okay? So it either ends in an N or ends in a short U sound, all right? And today is the day when you have to make a decision. Because notice this one, begin, began, begun. They all end in an N. So therefore, you know it has to be the short U sound, okay? So the short U sound, you have to watch out for that one. Don't let it trick you. All right, let's look. Present. Present is
Throw.
In the past, you
Through.
and do not confuse it with this through. This is a different through. It is not the verb through. That one is a preposition. You'll learn prepositions as you get older. But like I went through the hall to get to the classroom, okay? That is what kind of through that is. Through the hall. This is I threw the ball, okay? And then the one that needs a helper, what's the hint?
Has been.
It has an N. Ends in an N sound. Then we have the word break. Present, I break it. But yesterday I broke it. And with a helper, have broken it. I have broken it many times. All right, so that one, the hint is going to be
Has none.
the N. Why is Chase the only one answering? You guys need to wake up out there. Okay, next one is begin. So present, I begin the test. I already began. No, this is began. Began the test, that's the past. And I need the helper. Have begun the test already. All right? So, this time, because they all end in an N, the hint is the one that has the
Short U.
U sound. Begun. Begun is the one that needs the helper. All right, then we have the word
See.
I see right now. I
Saw.
it already, and I
Seen.
have seen it many times. All right, and so then again, the hint is the one that ends in a N. All right. There is more than one that we're going to be learning that has N for all of them. Begin, began, begun. And so it will always be the short U one that needs the helper. All right? Now, let's look at 2 things. I only have one version of this because we've been doing this a while. What you're going to have to do is divide the sentence, and then you're going to underline the verb phrase. This is a little bit different than the test, because on the test you only had one little verb to find. This time you're underlining the verb phrase, and then go back and find just the subject. Somebody did not just find the subject, they were underlining the whole subject part of the sentence, not just the subject. So that means they had not been paying attention in class when we were doing this in class. Right? This is not about finding the predicate part of the sentence and the subject part of the sentence. It is dividing it between the subject part of the sentence and the predicate part, but then we're just underlining the verb phrase or the verb, and then finding just the subject. So let's read the first one. Logan has seen a rocket launch. So So where are we gonna divide it? Just flirt.
After Logan.
After Logan. Alright? Now this one's easy because there's only one word in the subject part of the sentence. But sometimes there is more than one word, right? So that's what you need to watch out for. Alright, let's look at the predicate part of the sentence. Has seen a rocket launch. What are we gonna underline 2 times?
Has seen.
Has seen. We got a helper here, has, and we got the action verb seen. Notice how neatly I underlined the whole entire thing. I didn't go down and include the word and I didn't stop it here after the second E. Some of you are very sloppy in your underlining. I don't expect you to get a ruler out. I've seen some of you get a ruler out. I didn't ever tell you to, but I'm okay with that. But I do expect you to do it neatly, not so fast that you only underline part of it. Be neat. Alright, now you ask yourself this question. Who has seen?
Logan.
So that's what you're going to underline once. I mean, that one's pretty easy because there's only one word on the side. So you know that's the subject, right? Alright, the other thing you're going to be doing on the test is you'll have sentences similar to this, and you have to decide if there's a helper or not. And if there is a helper, you're going to pick the one that needs a helping verb, and if there's not a helper, then you're going to pick the other one. It's as easy as that. So what are the helpers again?
And is, are, was, were, had, has, had.
First sentence says, my neighbor has grew or grown roses. So do you see a helper?
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
What is it?
Has.
Has. Very good. So since we see this little helper has, what verb are we going to pick, Dane?
Neighbor. Or, no.
We're not doing that. We're picking the verb to go
Is
to
it
the
the
helper.
helper?
Which verb needs a helper? Grew or grown?
Grown.
Grown. And I'm just peeking to see what they want you to do on the test. They're having you underline it twice, so we're gonna underline it twice. Now, I'm gonna tell you this right now. The instructions on the test are not going to tell you to underline the helper too. They're just gonna tell you to pick the right verb. But I'm going to tell you to underline the verb twice, and it will be counting off points if you don't do it. Because I verbally am telling you now, and I will remind you again tomorrow, and I will try to remember to tell the substitute to remind you too. But you need to underline your helper too, even though the instructions on the test or on the quiz are not going to tell you to. I'm going to make you do it because that keeps you focused. You've got to look for the helper and then make your choice. If you don't find one of these helpers, then you know which one to pick. You pick the one that doesn't need a helper, right? All right, let's read the second sentence. It says, Tim knew or known his multiplication tables. Chloe.
New.
Knew. Why?
Because there's no helping verb.
Yes, there's no helping verb, so you want new. So you underline new twice. That will be the directions. Now, I want you to watch out. I have had people who don't memorize these as well as they should. And you see this little word has?
Yes.
They'll see the word his and they're like, oh, yeah, that's a helper. Is that a helper?
No.
No, that's a different word. That's the word his, not the word has. I've also had people, is as a helper. They'll see the word in. Oh, yeah, that's a helper. No, it's not. Is a helper. They'll see the word it, and they'll underline it like a helper. No, it's not it. It's the word
Is.
Make sure you know your helpers. And another thing, the helpers can be in front of the verb, not after. Like here, his, that's after the verb, and it's not a helper. But I have people that don't memorize these helpers good, and they see a word that looks similar to the helper, and they decide it's a helper. No. What are the helpers again? Am, is, are, was, were, has, had. Make sure you get those memorized so you can find them. Alright? Alright, let's go into our paper now. So at the top of the page it says, a helping verb helps the main verb show the action. They are, am, is, are, was, were, have, has, had. And then they have the words that we did on the board today. So I'm not going to go through them again, but they are there, and we will be putting this in your language folder so you can have them all collected in your language folder as we do these papers before the next test, hopefully. So let's start with, the ball game had begun already. All right, they've already underlined the helper for you, so you know you need to pick the word Just blurt.
Begun.
Begun. The one that has a short U. They both ended in, so pick the one with a short U. Underline it twice. Do not circle it. Underline it twice. That's the directions.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright? Number 2 says Max has broken the home run record for his team.
Broken.
Broken, because you see the helper. They already underlined the helper. By the way, that's why I'm going to make you underline the helper when we need to. Alright. We'll have to just make a audio to go with this. I'll just do an audio and you can just listen to the rest of it when we come back from lunch.